So guys, everybody watching, this is my dad, Mr. Bryant D. Morrison. A lot of people that watch know my dad, know who you are and stuff like that, but they don't really know about you. So I don't really have any topics planned for today, but if you're okay doing it, will you talk about I don't know, kind of like your journey leading up? I think your journey is kind of interesting, leading up to what you're doing now, and then what you're doing now.
I guess I could start with kind of my life.
Yeah,
and kind of where that, because I grew up in Oklahoma, grew up in Oklahoma City, and kind of lived in the city, but we had a place at the lake. It was very, I don't know, kind of almost a white picket fence life. I had two older brothers that were
quite a bit older, right?
Yeah, quite a bit older, 10 and 12 years older, and both parents worked, and really was.
What did your mom do? Why did I not know that?
So she was for years, she worked at the National Cowboy Hall of Fame.
That's right.
In Oklahoma City. And she was the editor in the magazine called Persimmon Hill Magazine. And then, I don't know, it was in her late 40s.
Her late 40s?
Her late 40s. She decided to switch careers. She went back to school. She went back to college, and she got a degree in respiratory therapy. So she was a respiratory therapist.
Which would be really prevalent right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She was a respiratory therapist, I guess, for 20 years. My dad owned his own garage.
Okay.
He was a mechanic.
Yep.
He was in the Korean War, was a mechanic on airplanes.
He went to Korea, right?
He was not in Korea. He was in occupied Germany right after the war, World War II, but served through the Korean War, still in occupied Germany, fixing airplanes and things. He worked on the P-36, which is a dual-engine airplane. Anyway, so he went on, and in life, he owned his own business. He had his own garage.
Mechanic, right?
As a mechanic,
Yep.
yeah. Worked on cars. And so both my parents worked and really instilled a work ethic in me, I think.
Think that had an effect on you?
I think it did.
Because I can see already, in my life, how it's been affected. If you really think about it.
Right.
Your parents. Are you getting Molly? Thank you. Will you also shut that window for me, Dustin? Yeah. Okay. I'll edit this out. Continue.
Okay.
You're good.
So, yeah, we had, growing up, we had, we didn't have a whole lot, but my parents I don't feel like I ever did without growing up.
Right, yeah.
Both were, very blue-collar, working-class folks. And then I guess the main thing for us is that we had a close family. Going on, I went to Oklahoma State University, and then ended up worked at a place called Garfield's, which was a restaurant.
Yeah.
I was kind of a waiter, bartender in that, which is about 1989. I met your mother. I met Amy. Yep. We both worked at Garfield's together.
You were her boss, right?
Well, actually, when we first met,
oh, you weren't?
I was a bartender and a waiter at that, so she was the hostess.
Gotcha.
Later on, I got into management. I remember one of the owners calling me. They had, 8 or 9 locations, I think, at that time. Yeah. Pretty decent sized little.
Which is out of business now, isn't it?
It's out of business now. Yeah. I didn't put it out of business, but so he called me one day and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about management?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm in school.
Yeah,
but I can do that." I was making quite a bit of tips, and so it was not
almost like why.
Yeah, almost like why would I want to do it?
People do that so much, don't they?
And then and then I had the one influence of a manager named Rhonda that I worked for that said, "Hey, you would be perfect at this because you're a natural leader." Never considered myself really a natural leader. Yeah. She said, you can tell people what to do and they'll just kind of do it because they want to do it for you. I said, okay,
cool.
I'll try that.
Yeah.
Learned how to do kitchen, food ordering, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Kind of going through the ranks, but I was an assistant general manager at the age of 19. And then really got through that over the next 3 years, was doing that.
You were assistant general manager for 3 years?
Assistant general manager, and moved around to a couple of different stores. And then what I did was I'd go over and take over the GM spot in a store. So they moved me to Wichita, Kansas for a while, and I really got that store up and running again. GM had left, so I was the temporary GM.
Gotcha.
So I was floating around as a GM.
Huh. I never knew you went to Kansas.
Yeah, went to Wichita, Kansas. Went to a couple of different restaurants in Oklahoma City. Actually went to Dallas when they opened up a store in Dallas for them.
Like just help with the opening, or
Yep,
yeah.
help with the opening, help train all the staff. So I was kind of that corporate trainer for a little while. And then
So after Garfield's,
got married somewhere in there, 1990.
Sorry, Mom.
Got married to Amy. We had dated 6 months, 7 months, and decided to get married. Went to work for a food service distributor called
Kraft.
Well, at first it was William E. Davis Foods.
Okay.
Which was a local distributor of Oklahoma City, but it really had a big area. I went to work for them in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and had a territory selling groceries. I sold to hospitals, nursing homes, mom and pop restaurants, chain restaurants, everybody. I kind of drove a big territory from Fayetteville down to Mena, Arkansas, if anybody knows Arkansas. A pretty big territory.
You would drive a lot?
Drive a lot.
So you go in and talk to them, try to sell them stuff?
Go in. Some of them I had about 8 or 9 clients that I took over when I went there.
Okay.
And so long and short is I built rapport with a lot of the restaurant people because I already knew the restaurant.
Right. It was easy to talk to them.
Yeah. So some of the sales guys really hadn't been in a restaurant before. And so my specialty was more the mom and pops.
Yeah.
More
Makes
talking
sense.
to, Joe's Diner, talking to the guy that opened up his own sandwich shop.
Yeah. Because you could relate.
Because I could relate.
Yeah.
They could relate to me. They'd ask me questions, and I'd help them out with food
Yeah.
cost control or labor control. Their controls. I'd already, worked with a P&L. So
And around that time, you had Daniel, right?
yeah. So
You're
in 1991, in Arkansas, we had our first child, which was Daniel. So after that, is that Nick?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're outside of my parents' property, so
Yeah, I
we
apologize.
got someone driving up. That's right. Go ahead. Hi, Daniel.
We had Daniel.
Daniel's the oldest in our family.
Right. Daniel's now 29.
29, yeah.
Yeah. And so moving forward, fast forward a little bit, I left there, went back to Oklahoma City to work for Kraft General Foods.
Which is a similar job?
A similar job. I did the same thing. I sold groceries. Sold groceries actually in downtown Oklahoma City. What was interesting about that job is I really just focused on the downtown area. There was a lot of little eateries downtown. And one of my main clients were these vendors that the government set up in these little sandwich shops that were called, they were blind. The guys were blind. So they had government assistance, but they actually worked. They had a job.
You mean like the owners? Or the people working there?
So the state government was a part owner in it. It was in all the state buildings.
Okay.
And the people that owned those restaurants or the managers of those restaurants were all blind.
That's interesting.
And so there was a lot of government agencies and government entities around there that had those blind vendors, blind managers.
Yeah.
They had people working for them that could see.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's funny or not, but what was funny is I could come in and say, "Hey, you need this. Do you want to try it?" And they always had to taste everything.
Yeah.
You couldn't just show them a picture.
Right.
Or hey, here's a new.
Which probably easier to sell them when they taste it.
Here's a new cheese to look at.
Yeah.
Here's this. And I just got to say, one of the funniest stories is one of the blind vendors. I said, "How are you today, Doug?" And he said, "I'm good." He said, "Hey, you want to go see my new car?"
Was his name actually Doug?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. I remember that.
So I said, "Doug," I said, "Doug, you're blind. You're kidding." No, I bought a new car.
Yeah. Does he feel
So he
the
took
car?
me down to see his car,
Yep.
and he wasn't all the way blind. Like he wore these bottle glasses.
Yeah, like he could see blurry or something. Yeah.
But he couldn't even read my sales sheet. You have to put it up to his face like this.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, I drive it around the block a couple of times. I don't, my daughter doesn't let me drive."
I was about to say that's sketchy. He has a car.
Oh,
So
gosh. So
was the car ugly or what?
no, it was
Oh,
actually
okay.
a brand new Dodge truck.
I thought you were going to tell me it was like a piece of crap.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I guess they did pretty well in those little eateries because they fed everybody in these high-rise buildings.
Right, so everybody come down and get lunch or whatever.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of stuff like that's gone. Maybe it hasn't, but I feel like it's all switched from like that kind of stuff to like cafeterias and
Right.
get in those buildings. Like I was downtown, Jack and I were downtown Oklahoma 2 years ago. No, last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Whatever. We were downtown there, and in one of the buildings downstairs, there was like 5 restaurants in a cafeteria style. So
it has a little tunnel down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
It's I actually served a lot of those restaurants that were in that little tunnel area. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called downtown Oklahoma City, but now in a lot of these places, everybody's renovated these buildings and they have these little cool eateries.
Yeah, totally.
Chefy style things.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That wasn't around then.
Yeah.
So it was an Italian place.
Oklahoma City wasn't that big either.
Well, I'm saying anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm saying Atlanta,
Right. No,
Dallas.
I get you. Yeah.
There wasn't all these little chefy, neat little concepts around. So back then it was, you had a sandwich shop, you had an Italian place, you had a Mexican place.
Right.
That was about it. You know, and then you had a burger place, obviously.
Yeah, here and there. Yeah.
So I serviced them, and unfortunately, let me move forward. After I left Kraft General Foods, I had been talking to some gentlemen I went to church with. In the meantime, we had, by the time we moved back to Oklahoma City, we had Amy Elizabeth, which is Lizzie. She was born in '93.
Yep.
So our first little girl, and then Christian was our second little girl. Anyway, so Lizzie was born then, and then we went on to been talking to a gentleman that I went to church with.
Yep.
And
Chuck.
His name's Chuck Harrison. Yeah. Went with Gary Gerard and Chuck Harrison were pretty. I knew them pretty well.
Yeah.
They were partners with a gentleman named Ralph Mason.
Yeah.
So they had a company called.
And have all of them passed away since?
No, Gary Gerard's still alive.
Gerard's still alive? Okay.
Yeah.
But Ralph Mason passed away, and then Chuck Harrison did too, right?
Yeah, Ralph Mason passed away about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Chuck passed away about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
So, long story short is they had a company called Mason Harrison Gerard
Yep.
in Oklahoma City. Mason Harrison Gerard at the time had, I think, around 250 Sonic drive-ins.
Yeah, which is a ton.
Which is a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the biggest franchisee, weren't they?
The biggest franchisee, and they still are the biggest franchisee.
Are they still the biggest?
Yeah, they bought and sold some restaurants over the years. I think right now they're in that 350 range.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Right. Yeah.
Because they went down to like 120 at one time.
Oh, really? Huh.
Sold a lot, acquired some more, built it back up. So, and since changed partners.
Right. Yeah.
Had anyway. So I went to church with a couple of those guys and knew that I was in the restaurant business, knew that I had been in food service, and so I ended up talking to Chuck Harrison after church one day.
Yeah.
Went to his office and he says, "Well, what do you want to do?" Started telling me about Sonic, and I grew up in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So you knew
Oklahoma
Sonic.
City, I had a Sonic that was two blocks from my school.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hung out at Sonic.
Something that people up here don't understand is Sonic in the South. First off, there's more Sonics than there are McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right. And second off, it's a cultural thing in the South. Up here, it's not really that way. It's more so than like when we were in Indiana and stuff, for sure. And Colorado. Well, Colorado's kind of cultural too. But in the South, it's like, that's where everybody goes.
Right.
High school, middle school, so that's where you hang out.
It's kind of a rite of passage. You go,
Yeah.
you hang out at Sonic, you hang out, like we used to sit in lawn chairs in the back of my truck at Sonic.
It's the place to go. Yeah.
And we'd hang out after school. I got kicked out many, many times out of Sonic from the manager for being loud and being crazy and doing stupid things. But
it's also cool to work there.
it is cool to
too.
work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, back then, even then they had roller skating car hops. We try to do that occasionally now. But so anyway, Chuck Harrison, talked to Chuck Harrison. During that conversation, Chuck showed me his financial statement.
His P&L?
Personal. No, he told me his personal and his bank statement.
Okay. And
Just
you're
to
like,
tell me how
let's
much
freaking
money
do
he
this.
made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't know he did that.
They
That's
had,
funny.
remember they had like 250 stores.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember how much he had?
I was over $1 million.
In cash in the bank or
And I'm
something?
just,
Yeah. Yeah. Because what were you making at the time for Kraft?
I was making $30,000 a year, which was horrible.
Yeah, for the time.
But
also two
I had
kids.
2 kids.
And did mom work
We
at the time?
actually just bought our first house.
Yep. In Oklahoma City,
We
right?
bought our first house in Oklahoma City. We bought this. It was a rental property that we bought from a gentleman, which is another weird story because the guy that owned it was my ex-girlfriend's dad. That my wife actually did not care for that ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
so it was kind of a weird
scenario.
especially at closing when we're sitting across from them.
Because back then that's what you did, right? Yeah, you don't do that now.
Yeah, we had to go to closing to sign the document. So anyway, we bought this house for $46,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home for
$46K. Dang.
in a pretty nice area. No, it was a gut job.
Do you remember what the interest rates were back then?
Very high.
12?
Yeah.
8
I
to 12?
think we paid 8.5.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right for that
But
time.
we did the every 2-week thing 2 weeks to try to pay it down.
Okay. 8.5% though. People still nowadays cry about 3.5.
Right.
So
Right.
spoiled.
And we were lucky. We were thankful that we had a house. It was our
Right.
first house. And I want to say that was 92, 90, maybe it was 93.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Did you have Lizzie before or after you got the house?
I think we had Lizzie
And then you got
when
the
we were
house.
living in an apartment.
Gotcha.
And then we got the house, and I can't remember the whole
Yeah.
timeline there. So that
And so Chuck showed you his bank statement.
Chuck showed me the bank statement.
Told you he was a high roller. or
Right.
whatever.
Offered me a position. I didn't accept it first. I was kind of like, I was in an office job. By that time I moved from a sales position to I was a buyer merchandiser.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought canned goods. I brought produce. I was a produce buyer for a large distributor. And it was, for Kraft food service. At the time, Kraft had a food service division. So we, I liked it. It was getting like a 3.5% raise every year. It was digging the fact that I could move up and eventually I could become the manager of the
Right.
procurement side.
Right.
But I got to thinking about it, and I love the restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
And after I went to Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, actually, and talked to a lot of the managers there, the general managers. They called them operating partners. Well, they had a program where you could buy in as a manager.
Yeah.
You actually had signed a little note. You bought in. You bought a percentage, and at the time they were selling up to 30%
To the GM.
to the GM,
Yeah.
a general manager. So that intrigued me.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Because I could own my own business.
Yeah.
I could kind of be my own boss.
Right.
Even though I had partners in the business and was regulated by Sonic, I could be my own boss and make some money.
Right.
Because I started talking to them, and they were making at the time, it seemed like a lot of money to me. They were making $45,000, $50,000.
Well, that's a huge
With their
increase from
ownership.
30 though.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
It's almost
so,
double.
and so to me, I'm like, where do I sign?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's Amy thinks I'm nuts, but we're going to go do this.
Did she really think you were nuts at the time?
She kind of did, but she also, because we just bought a house, we just fixed it up.
Yeah.
We did a lot of sweat equity in that home.
Right.
We did everything ourselves. So after that, what we did is I ended up moving to Fort Worth, Texas with a friend of mine. I actually stayed with a friend of mine for a long time, for about 4 months while I was in training. Amy stayed back in Oklahoma City, because we were trying to sell a house.
Gotcha.
She was actually there about 6 months, but she was fortunate. My parents were there.
Yeah.
Her parents were there
Help with kids and whatnot.
to help with the kids and
Yeah.
all that while I was there. Now, I could come back for a couple of days at a time, then I'd drive back.
Yeah.
Because Dallas to Oklahoma City is about 2 hours.
Yeah, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. So that led into the fact that we had I was there. I was working in Fort Worth. I was like, I'm going to make a go of this. I'm going to make it right. Kind of moved around some different stores. Right before I was able to move Amy there, we found a home that we could buy there. It's hard to do that when you change jobs,
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
And so
Probably harder then than it is now, but yeah.
Yeah. So what we did was, we had to get some special financing or something.
Yeah.
But I think the interest rates are a lot better then.
Yeah.
So we bought a brand new home. It was in a new area.
Yeah.
It was just built at one of their spec homes or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. Remember how much it was? Or no?
I think it was close to. I think it was $99,000.
Okay. That's a lot
It was
for
a
back then.
2-story home.
You doubled though. Doubled
Brick
the
fascia on it. It was it was a decent home.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was well built,
Right.
but it was a.
It was a track home.
It was
probably.
a track home,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So there was that style for every third home was that style.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what they do. A lot of that in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So
What did you sell your house for in Oklahoma? Do you remember?
So we made in Oklahoma. I've bought and sold. I think I counted the other day. I bought and sold 17 homes
In your life.
personally,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of homes
That
to
is.
buy and sell.
Well, the average person only does 5 to 7 in their lifetime.
And
you're
well, I
triple that.
count my rental property because we had
Right. Yeah.
at one time we had
Still counts. Yeah.
we had 6 rental properties. So, okay, so fast forward a little bit. Before she moved there, we had the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that happened. If you remember that or have heard about
Yeah.
that.
I've heard of that. Was I leaving alive? Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah,
I want to say it was 93 or 90. It was 94.
The bombing was?
94, 95. No, I'm sorry. You're right. It was 95.
Yeah, 95. Yeah.
So, because I started with Sonic in 1994. The bombings happened in 95 before she was able to move there. But I remember your mom calling me and saying that there was a plane that crashed near the house. That's what she thought.
Well, didn't she initially think you were there?
No.
Am I imagining that? Or she think our dad was there or something?
No, she thought Pawpaw might have been there.
That's what it was.
So
Her dad.
So her dad worked downtown.
That's right.
Which is where the Oklahoma City bombing was.
So
So
she couldn't get a hold of him after that. And
I'll
like,
reverse
oh,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember Doug that I told you about?
Yes.
He was in the AP Murrah building. He was one of my clients.
Seriously?
And he died in that bombing. Yeah.
Really?
Blind vendor. Yeah, so I had that.
Oh my God.
I know.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Had three different blind vendors or restaurants in there. They all those guys. So he was in the basement. So he was down.
So you got covered.
The building just collapsed on him. Poor guy.
Dang.
And then what's weird is I saw pictures of it, of the bombing, and it scanned through the garage, and his new truck was right there.
Oh, that's horrible.
Poor guy.
Man.
You know.
That's horrible.
It is.
The one that he was all excited to show you?
Yeah, and the guy was great.
Dang, that sucks.
So, so moving forward, let's see. I know this is all boring, but
It's okay. I'll preface the video and make them understand what we're doing here. So,
yeah.
So from here, you started in Sonic in Texas.
I started Sonic in Texas. Let's fast forward a little bit. I ran a restaurant in Texas.
Yep.
I kind of helped out opening up a couple of more restaurants, and they gave me a percentage of those.
Yep.
I was able to buy a percentage of those.
Yep.
So we moved on. I moved to back to Oklahoma for a little bit. Actually, after then, I went to work for Sonic Restaurants Incorporated. Sonic Restaurants Incorporated, I did a couple of restaurants for them. And then I ended up opening up what's called the Split T in Oklahoma City,
Yep.
which is a
remember that.
combination
Of
of
an
an
old
old drive-in, and they put a Sonic in it, and they kept the old sign. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, it was cool. You know what I remember about that?
What's that?
I remember somebody ripped down the sign early, and it was supposed to be a surprise, but somebody drove by and took off the cover. Remember?
Oh yeah, they had a
Do you remember that?
big, huge cover over the sign. I'd already seen it too.
Yeah.
Big, huge cover over the sign, and somebody took it down before all the news.
Because it was supposed to be a
cameras.
surprise that it was going to be the Split T Sonic.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because all the
I remember that for some
and
reason.
the Split T was a football formation for OU.
Gotcha.
OU football team.
Gotcha.
And that's why that restaurant was called the Split T.
And then kind of some cool stuff about that one was some famous people went there, and like Tony Hawk and his wife, right?
Yeah,
Tony Hawk and his wife would go
Yep.
there. And then, you know what's weird is I don't remember what year it was, but at the convention,
Yeah.
Tony Hawk spoke at one of the conventions. Remember that?
Yeah, I did.
And he mentioned Split T Sonic.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, me and my wife got the one close to our house, the Split T. That's what he said. And I was like, that's funny. I remember them talking about that.
Right.
Okay, so anyways, you worked for corporate, Split T.
Yeah, worked for corporate, opened up the Split T. I think it was 2002. Ended up 2002. Yeah, so I think 2002. So I'm going to back up just a little bit because in '95 was one of the worst years of my life. Like you were born. And then,
2 dicks so far. Our second girl was born in 95. Okay.
yeah. 97, Jack was born.
Best day
Okay.
of your life. Best time of your life.
Jack, Jack was a little bit unique deal because we didn't think he was going to live.
Yeah, yeah.
He was this very stressful birth. He had RSV. He was on all kinds of steroids and crap.
You know, like you guys have always told me that, but until I had Addison, I never really thought about it, you know. But like how stressful birth is in general, I can't imagine that. Then they take him away and they're like, well, he's probably gonna die.
Right.
Because I imagine mom was freaking out.
But she was, and I think what got us through it was our faith.
Yeah.
Our faith in Christ, really that, because we had a good church, which was Wedgwood Baptist Church.
That helped you out.
and a lot of church members. So one thing unique about our church there was we had a church shooting.
I remember that. Yeah.
We had a guy come in. If anybody remembers that, in Wedgwood Baptist,
You can look up the news story.
it was in '96 or '97. So
Yeah.
I keep going forward and back.
It's fine. Yeah, you're good. You're
Sorry.
good.
So we had a church shooting where a guy came in at this with See at the Pole rally, and shot up a lot of the kids in our youth group. And I can't recall how many people died in that.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I do remember that I was at soccer practice with you guys because I was helping coach soccer.
Yeah.
And I think I had a pager or something, and back then we didn't have the cell phones, so I got a call that there was a shooting, there was something going on, and all night that night I did trips, took people home from the church. I took one of the associate pastors up to the hospital, just to, how can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not saying I was a saint or anything.
That's a crazy experience, though.
It is. Yeah. It is, because they had everything locked down.
Yeah.
Everything was roped off. So, okay, moving. Not that interesting, but it at the time it was pretty bizarre. Yeah.
That's two like massacres that happened in areas you were in, though.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City bombing was one.
Yeah.
Right. And you knew somebody that died in that.
Yeah.
And then the Westwood Baptist Church was two. And you knew a
Right.
lot of people that died in that, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the kid that there was a kid that I had just met in our youth group, and I was in charge of one of the just our Sunday adult Bible study group, and so we during those we got to meet some of the new kids that had just accepted Christ, talk to them a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a mentorship program.
Yeah.
And this one kid, I'll never forget him because I thought he just was like in your face type guy. He was a big kid.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm all about Christ.
Yeah.
I know Christ, right?
Yeah.
I'm in him.
Yeah.
I am him.
He's one of those
All
guys.
that, just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay,
dude.
cool, dude.
He was
Yeah.
so excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kid stood up to the shooter
Really?
and said, take me, I know where I'm going.
Did
Do you know where you're going? You know what happened?
What?
Guy shot himself. The shooter did. When that kid stood up and did that.
Really?
Yeah. Bizarre
Dang,
story.
gave me chills. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So the fact that he was in your face and like that
Yeah.
gave him the guts to stand up.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I know where I'm going. Do you know where you're going?
Interesting.
So, moving on. SRI. going back forward again.
Yeah, you're good.
So Sonic Restaurants Incorporated with them, supervising partner. So I bought into 7 restaurants in Louisiana as a partner in them. What's interesting as a partner is when the stores do well, your paychecks are good.
Yep. When
You're
they're
able
doing
to make
bad.
your banknote payments.
Yeah.
When they're doing bad, you have what's called a cash call.
Yeah.
Didn't know what a cash call was.
Yeah.
Cash call is the store lost money.
So you
Everybody
gotta pay.
puts in money.
Yeah.
And there was 3 months that I was there that I was paying money. I wasn't making money.
Yeah. And you were like,
So I'm
what
like,
the
this
hell?
sucks.
Yeah.
What's going on?
How many stores was it?
There was 6 stores, ended up being 7.
Okay.
Because we built another one.
And something that you kind of specialized in and still do is stores that aren't making money, helping them make money and getting them there pretty quick.
And
Is that the case there?
Kind of what I was getting ready to say is that I said, I'm not going to let this happen again.
Yeah, screw
I don't
that.
want to pay money. I
Yeah.
need to make money.
I work and
right?
pay money. That sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had saved up a little bit because we had made some money when I first got there. So what I learned to do was really focus in on numbers and there.
Yep.
Because I had to.
Yeah.
I had a good partner. That was what they called a director of operations then.
These are corporate stores, right?
These are corporate stores.
Now they're franchise, but
Yeah, they sold later
Yeah.
on. But the guy named Al Trevino, that was my.
Oh, no shit.
He kind of taught me how to. I'd always done P&Ls and looked at P&Ls and analyzed numbers.
Yeah.
But in a group setting and really getting individualized with my managers
yeah.
of what their strengths and weaknesses were.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I was kind of out on my own in Louisiana. I didn't have a whole lot of people visit me. I had to learn the grind of doing that.
Totally, yeah.
I worked a lot. I worked 7 days a week, and that's no joke. I had to replace managers. I had to get rid of the ones that had a lot of theft going on. We had You know, they had the first 24-hour store in Sonic, which
First one ever?
First one ever, which wasn't fun because we had to learn the hard way that, you know, people will steal overnight, people will do some stupid things, they'll, you know, whatever.
God, we had some crazy stuff happen at those stores, though.
We did.
Crazy
we had
stuff.
The first year I got there, I had a store on. I got to think of the road. So anyway, it was on 70th.
70th.
Okay, I had 3 stores on 70th. This was right in the middle of town, not in a real good part of town.
Right.
But the store was built in 1972.
Okay.
An old store. And one of the first things that happened after I got there, that I'll never forget, my managing partner, her name was Lena Harris.
Yep.
And Lena had, even though it was built in 1972, it was an old store, it was the cleanest store I had.
That's awesome, yeah.
You could eat off the floor when you walked in. She made the kids pull their pants up. She tied them up if they didn't. She made them clean, deep clean.
Yeah.
Great kids.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I was the only white guy there.
Yeah.
Okay. And they used to tell me, Mr. Bryant, they call me Mr. Bryant, Mr. Bryant.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be here at night when I come up there at night. Well, I want to see I want to see what's going on at night. Well, lo and behold, you know, two weeks later, I found out why.
Yeah.
The night that I was supposed to be there, the store got robbed. Manager got pistol whipped. My cook got shot in the butt.
I remember that. Yeah.
Funny story about that is Lena, her brother was
like a gangster, right?
He was a gangster.
Yeah.
He was in prison.
At the time he was?
Yeah, at the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I knew he was like a legit gangster.
No, he was in charge of, at the time, it was the Crips and the Bloods.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's still a thing.
Right.
But he was in charge of whatever the red one is. I can't remember.
Yeah, Crips. Or
the Bloods.
The Bloods, sorry.
Yeah. So, so I remember, anyway, so that person that robbed her that night, she had called a friend of her brother's. Her brother was in prison, still in charge while he was in prison.
Yeah.
Friend of her brother's had the guy that robbed him tracked down before the police
Before the
even
cops
knew.
got him, right? Yeah.
Before the cops even knew where they were.
Wow.
Beat the guy up.
Got the money back.
Got the money back. Got the cash drawer back.
Yep.
And all back to the drive-in to Lena.
That's some gangster stuff, right?
That is some gangster stuff because the cops are like, I don't
Well,
know what happened, but your money's
money's
back.
back.
We have to put it in evidence.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
Don't know here. It's funny.
Yeah.
So they told
That's
Lena.
pretty badass,
They told
honestly.
Lena we got to put it in evidence. She goes, I've already put it in the bank. You can't have my money. That's what she told the cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. She knows how they play, right?
Yeah.
That's some gangster shit, though, man. That's crazy.
So there were some scary stores there, but,
Right.
you know, some restaurants. But
I would say, though, like for me as the kid of all this, is like us moving around to different places so much, and especially Louisiana, and then just working in the restaurants in general. It's taught me how to deal with everybody, though.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if I never experienced Louisiana, like how hardcore it is,
Yeah.
you know, and the racism on both sides is hardcore in Louisiana. Hardcore.
In Louisiana, we hadn't experienced a lot of that either.
Yeah.
Your mother and I, your mother taught Pilates and at a studio there, and worked for a lady and taught dance.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of her clients had what they called help.
Yeah.
She said they were talking about their help. Remember the movie The Help?
Yeah. Yeah. It was that way still. Yeah.
It was that what they were talking about.
Yeah.
It was all these well-to-do
White people. Yeah.
Because I remember one of her client was Phillips. Her last name was Phillips Petroleum.
Yeah. Phillips 66. Yeah.
And Phillips 66.
Yeah.
And they always talked about their help.
Yep. It's weird.
It just was a different. I didn't
Yeah.
grow up that way.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of my friends were in high school were black kids, and there was
Didn't think
Hispanic
about it.
kids. I didn't
Right.
think anything about it.
Yeah. What I learned is like, I remember we would be young. Remember we'd always like walk places.
Mm-hmm.
You guys would just shockingly like looking back, you guys would let us kind of go do what we wanted. And there was like gas stations close by, and where we lived in Shreveport originally was straight up in the hood. Remember for that townhouse?
Oh yeah.
So when we lived there, you know, there's drug busts all the time around us. Remember that?
Right. We could hear gunshots all the time.
Yeah. What I really remember though is learning how to de-escalate situations. Like I remember,
Not stress out.
yeah, and like we would go around the block and we would be like surrounded by some black guys. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, "Hey, what's up, little crackers?" They would do that kind of stuff to us all the time. You know. And at first you're like, "Oh my god!" And then you just learn to be cool. You know,
Right.
they're not trying to threaten you. They're just
You'd be
being
like, "What up?"
Yeah, what's up, guys? What's going on? You know what I mean? But don't try to be. Also, I see so many people like pander. Hey, what's up, brother? None of that. You know what I mean? Just be white.
Yeah.
But be cool. Be you,
yourself.
but be cool. Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
for
It taught
sure.
me how to like deal with it. You know, because I remember I remember walking on the street and people would like scream "little cracker" at me all the time and that kind of stuff. So it was like both ways, but it taught me how to deal with it. Like looking back, I'm like, it really did teach me how to handle those situations better, probably.
Yeah, I get it.
If I hadn't been that, I don't think I'd be able to deal with it. I'd look
I
at
have
it
to
all
say
different.
something. You and I are related, right?
Yeah.
So notice we're not 6 foot apart. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we might be. Like our heads probably 6 feet
Okay,
apart. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So don't sneeze this direction.
Start coughing.
Right. Hey, so where was I? Oh, yeah. So in Shreveport, I really love Shreveport. I really did.
I do too,
Because
yeah.
Louisiana was kind of a cool. We had a guy lived down the street, was a caterer he did crawfish.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
Shavers.
Shaver, yeah,
Yeah,
Shaver.
Shavers.
Yeah.
Daniel actually worked for him.
Yep.
Do you remember the first night he worked?
No.
Daniel cleaned out. It was right before Thanksgiving. They were smoking turkeys.
Oh, okay.
And he had to gut out the turkeys. They buy a whole turkey.
Yeah,
He had to
yeah.
gut out the turkeys. He came home full of guts all over him.
Did he?
And you know, Daniel actually loves that stuff,
Yeah.
but he was like, I never want to gut another turkey in my life.
Yeah.
I think he got like over 100 turkeys or something that
Oh
day.
Jesus.
So anyway, we learned to eat crawfish and got into the kind of Louisiana culture. I really liked that.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the people, there's no better. The people are just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
True Southern gentlemen, Southern people. Every race that there is just wonderful.
Yeah.
We absolutely have some great. One of Amy's best friends still lives there.
Yeah.
And so
Emily.
Emily,
Yeah.
yeah. And so quite a bit younger than her, but they get along real well.
Yeah.
So
So I'm just gonna preface all this really quick. So in the whole time from the beginning of you getting into Sonic, your whole goal the whole time, correct me if I'm wrong, was you wanted to own your own stores.
yeah,
Right?
so
Wasn't that kind of the ultimate goal?
yeah, so right in between,
Like you were always a partner, but they were never yours.
I was a supervising partner, but they were never quite mine. I
like you didn't
introduced
have
myself.
full say.
I was a licensed franchisee partner, but I wasn't the franchisee.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't the control. I didn't have the controlling interest.
Right. Yeah.
And so I got an opportunity. I think it was in 2006 to 2007 actually.
Yeah, 2007, right before the crash.
Right before the crash, 2007. Sonic wanted to do a partnership. They want to open up stores in Chicago.
Indiana and Chicago,
Well,
yeah.
and so their first one was going to be I-80 corridor, kind of South Bend, Indiana, Mishawaka, and then going west on 80 into all the suburbs of Chicago.
In Illinois, yeah.
Okay, the goal was I think 27 stores.
Okay. Yep.
So I stepped up to the plate.
Yep.
And with them and formed a partnership.
Yep.
After 2 years, I could be vested at a 50% partnership.
Gotcha.
Actually, 51%.
So you'd be the controlling.
So I would be the controlling interest. Didn't have a whole lot of cash in the bank, so it made sense that I could partner up with Sonic.
Totally.
Let them help me tote the note and do that kind of thing.
Yep.
So for me, that was a big deal.
Big opportunity.
Big opportunity for that many restaurants.
27 is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we moved there in 08, beginning of 08, the first store was being opened up in South Bend itself. Second one in Mishawaka. They opened up right one after the other, 08. Crash happened during the middle of all this, right? We had these huge openings. We actually did, remember, I told you the numbers on this, but you actually helped at those
Yeah, I
openings.
remember
You were
that.
old enough to help out.
Not
think you were-
really.
you
I was
were
like
12,
13.
13? Yeah. So you were helping out. I remember you serving drinks
Yeah,
for the
we
people
would.
waiting in line.
There was people waiting like 3 hours in line, right?
There was people
Yeah.
waiting actually overnight
Yeah,
too,
that's
before
true.
we opened.
Yeah.
And
And so
because
we would-
it was their first Sonic that
Right.
they'd ever seen.
Yeah. And they
did.
saw commercials for years. Like Sonic prefaced it, tried to get it.
We already
get
had
ready.
the two guys by then,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought. How long have they been there?
They were there a long time.
I thought so.
They just stopped using them.
Okay.
So
Recently?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Because the new marketing company.
Yeah, and what they're doing now is this new it's reality commercials. Like,
Okay.
it's real people.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
So yeah. So then we moved into this mode of we were going to open up. I think that next year we were supposed to up 6 drive-ins.
Okay.
Over in the Chicago side. Crash hit.
Yep.
A lot of things started happening. 09 came on. We were doing well. And then we did open up, I think, 5, maybe 6 restaurants in Chicago.
Yep.
There was another guy that was helping me operate those 2, so it was me and him.
Yep.
Really, that knew Sonic. We helped each other out with people and all that. So, it's those stores actually in 09, I believe, sold.
Right.
To the president of Sonic, actually bought them.
President at the time. Yeah.
President at the time. I worked for him for a while. Helped him build a few more restaurants.
Yep.
Really managed these because there wasn't a whole lot of expansion going on.
Right.
The reason Sonic sold those and didn't honor our obligation or our agreement was because of the crash.
Right.
Sonic actually was selling
Everything.
off restaurants. Yep. I got a group of a couple investors to try to buy the stores, but they had already sold those stores.
Before you could do it.
Yeah, before.
Kind of out from underneath you a little bit, right?
Little bit of hard feelings there.
Yeah.
Out from underneath me. Hey, we got this deal with you. It's a signed agreement, but it still was, so it was a little bit odd. I started looking around at some different concepts. Thinking about doing something else.
Yeah.
Can
I ask,
yeah,
during all of this, at this point, you've been in Sonic for 15 years, right? Just
roughly,
about.
yeah, roughly.
15 years. First off, nobody nowadays sticks to anything for 15 years.
Yeah.
But 15 years, what were you thinking in your head at the time? Because I remember your income got cut in half.
Yeah.
In which, for us at the time, I remember when it got cut in half because our meals all switched to we're having potatoes every night. I remember that. I really do.
Right.
Potatoes and salad or whatever, What were you thinking in your head? Because you were you've been working 15 years to get these stores.
Let me go back to my dad. Okay. And my mother. They kind of instilled in me, stick with a company, you're loyal to that company.
Yep.
I think people in my age, it's kind of you go to work for General Motors, you stay with General Motors.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was instilled in everybody's head to do that.
Yeah.
Not to go open up a coffee shop.
Totally. Yeah.
Or go do all those things on your own. My dad, I remember talking to my dad through this in 07. Okay? My dad ended up passing away in 09.
Yeah.
But then talked to him and he said, son, do your own thing. You've done this long enough. You need to go do your own thing. So that's what led me really to talking to other people.
Gotcha.
Or looking at other concepts and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
But, he said, you've done this long enough. You need to go do your own deal. It was very difficult to do during the crash, right?
Yeah, no one was doing anything.
No one was doing anything. Yeah. Sonic was just barely hanging on in a lot of their areas. Discounting the heck out of the menu.
I remember that. Yeah.
99 cent this, 99 cent that. We weren't making any profit. So consequently, I took quite a bit of a pay cut.
Right around this time is when I first was old enough to legally work.
Yeah.
Right. So then I started working at Sonic right during this time because I remember what I remember about this time compared to any other time was I've never had more people complain,
really?
Customer wise.
Okay. Because they're unhappy?
Yeah, because
they're financially stressed out. There's a lot of people. In that part of the world, Chicago, South Bend, Indiana, heavy industrial.
Got hit hard.
Heavy industrial. In South Bend, they manufactured parts for the auto industry. The auto industry just
tanked.
Nothing.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of people laid off. Yeah, so good point.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you when I went there, Daniel had actually started working for Sonic in Louisiana.
Yep.
And Lizzie didn't quite know Sonic yet.
Yep.
But Daniel and I were the only 2 people when we opened up those 2 restaurants that knew Sonic.
Yeah, I remember that.
The only 2 people
in the whole store.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember Daniel was in the kitchen.
Yeah. We had to bring in. We brought in an A-team, which was a team from other stores. So that really taught me how to buckle down.
Yeah, and not spend money. Yeah.
And not spend money. I'll tell you what that market did for me is a cold weather market, snow. I wasn't used to that. Yeah. Remember, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana is where I've been. Right?
Which is year-round sales.
Year-round sales. Yep. February is a rocking month for us usually.
Yep.
February in South Bend, Indiana
Nothing.
was covered snow, lake effect snow.
Yeah, screw that stuff. Yeah.
You know, and so I had to get used to that.
Yeah.
Used to really grinding it
Yeah.
through that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm
God,
talking
it's
about
grindy work. It is.
yeah, and it's
so
talking
grindy.
about going down to 2 people in a restaurant.
One of them's you. Yeah.
One of them's you. One of
Yeah.
them's the manager.
Yeah.
You just do what you got to do, right? And you go from first gear to 5th gear. When it goes into spring, you better be ready.
Yeah, because if you don't have staff, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's the most weather-driven concept out there
Totally,
as far as
yeah.
a QSR.
Yeah.
Um,
You can almost predict sales off of weather,
Yeah.
honestly. Pretty close.
yeah.
Okay, so your mindset whenever all this went down. You said your dad had already prefaced it for you, basically.
My dad had prefaced it for me because he said there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times, and he said the good times will outweigh the bad if you grind, if you stick to it. He
Yeah.
didn't say grind, but he said you
Right.
stick to it.
It's a term now.
Stick with the company. So really what I did was I moved. I took that opportunity from there. I worked for the guy that bought them for a couple of years, helping him and getting him back up, getting the stores.
I guess what I'm
people
curious
going.
about is like, this is kind of selfish for me, but for like the future, because my kids will be able to look at this video right now and think, oh, this is what my granddad was thinking about.
Right.
I've always heard you talk about stuff, but I've never heard like what was going through your head. You know what I mean? You got 4 kids, a wife that wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
You income cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
Your goal was to own these stores, you didn't get it. Were you like, man, screw this?
My goal was still to own my
or were you like focused?
My goal was still at that time to own my own restaurants and get into my own deal.
So now your focus just switched from, okay, maybe it's not just Sonic, maybe it's something else,
Yeah.
kind of. Okay.
So I'd grown up and seen a lot of guys. I grew up with a guy that owned 5 Wendy's.
Yep.
He did very well.
5 Wendy's.
Yeah, with 5 Wendy's. They drove nice cars in a big, nice house. Guys that own multiple concepts. I'm not talking about just restaurants, right?
Right.
There was a guy that lived next to us that owned 2 upholstery places.
Yep.
Did very well. Business ownership was always my thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus your dad owned a business.
My
So,
dad owned a business. When I was going to school, I actually went to school initially in landscape architecture at Oklahoma State, and I was going to run my own landscaping business.
Yeah.
But since I worked in a restaurant, I kind of got hooked in the whole restaurant
Yeah.
thing. So I think when that, more than anything, I wanted to do that. Yeah, I had to take a pay cut, but I could also see that there was going to be a turnaround.
Right.
Okay, I can also see that this is what I know. This is what I'm good at. I'm not great at it, but I'm fairly good at it and I know it.
Yeah.
So do it. Okay. And that's really what stuck in my mind is that keep on going, keep doing it. So I had an opportunity to get with a guy in Colorado that had
Yep.
7 restaurants. He was trying to train his kids to take it over
Yep.
and to run it. And he needed somebody as a buffer for that because he wasn't real good with his kids.
Yeah.
And so I was that guy. I
Yeah.
came in, got the stores up and running. I came in at a really low salary.
Yeah.
But I said, hey,
Everything's based off your bonus, right?
I said, hey, just give me this % for a bonus. Easy.
Yeah, because at the time they weren't making any money.
They weren't making any money.
Yeah.
But I could, again.
So you knew they could make money because
Exactly.
you saw it.
But again, I knew, because
Yeah.
you said it earlier,
Yeah.
I could take stores that were not doing so well and turn them around. It's all about people.
It's with people, but with Sonic, it's so easy to let everything slip.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you're not on top of it at all times, you're screwed. You make no money. So you saw an
First
opportunity.
first of all, you hire the right people.
Yep.
You train them the right way to do things.
Yep.
Train them in numbers that they may not ever have known before. How to manage their food and how to manage their people. That's it.
And give them incentive that if they do better, they make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who cares if they make great money?
Yeah.
If they're making good money and they're bonusing well, you're doing well.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that. Within Sonic, if you're with the right group anyways, and your salary's based off of bonuses and stuff, we have managers that can make 80 grand a year easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And I know managers that run like really high volume stores that make like 140. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But they're running like $3.5 million stores. But still,
I like some of those stores in California.
yeah, when your income is based off of your performance,
Yeah.
the right person steps up. You know what I mean?
Right.
the right type of person, anyways.
So in Colorado, we really liked Colorado. So Amy and I had gone to our honeymoon in Colorado.
Yep.
We didn't have any money. We just drove up there and went
Yeah,
skiing for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But we really loved Colorado. So we thought this would be cool. We're going to go do that. In the southern Colorado Springs, it's Pueblo West, Pueblo area, these 7 stores. So we really had, they were good stores, good volume stores that just needed some direction. Turn them around. We actually opened up our own business. Finally did it, right?
Oh, yeah. Cultura.
Yep. Amy actually ran it.
Yep.
At the time, you guys were in high school and
Yep.
doing it. And by the way, moving around, you know, Dana was really the only one that graduated from a structured high school setting.
Yeah, we were all
You
homeschooled.
guys were all homeschooled.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Because we moved around so much.
Yeah.
Right?
But actually, when Mom opened Cultura, I was already running a Sonic.
Well, that's right.
I was running Pueblo
That's
West.
right.
Yeah.
So you had taken over Pueblo West Sonic.
Yep.
At 18.
Yep.
You became a general manager, I think, the day you turned 18.
It was like 3 or 4 days after you guys
Okay.
officially offered it to me.
Yeah. Because we were looking for a general manager.
It just worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? I had in my room stuff plastered everywhere, like a vision board type thing. I had like the car I wanted, and then I had written out, you read it one time and you called me and you were like, it said, I'm going to be a GM when I turn 18.
Nice.
That's what it said.
Yeah,
Because I was
I
assistant
remember
manager
that.
at the time, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I had to restart the camera. Anyway, so do you remember on my wall in my bedroom downstairs in Colorado, I had on the wall, I had when I was going to become a GM, which is at 18.
Right.
I had like car I wanted and stuff like that. I still do this kind of stuff, but different
Yeah.
way now. I do it on my phone and on my computer now, but
Kind of get cold out here.
it is getting chilly.
I should have this fire going.
I know. Anyways, I remember you called me one time, and I was like so focused on it. I was like, because I was assistant manager at the time,
Right.
and I would work there. I don't remember exactly what my shifts I was doing, but I think I was closing a lot. Seems like that's all I did at Sonic was close. But also in the mornings, I was working at the country club. Remember that? At the tennis center.
That's right. Yeah.
And I remember that's all I really did. Go to the country
Work.
club, get there at 7:30, and then I would get off at 3, go in at 3:30 to Sonic, and like 3:30 to close. Wake up and do it again. So I remember just being so focused on it, and I'd work 40 hours a week on the clock at Sonic, and I'd probably work like 15 to 20 off, just to try to like watch Michelle or whoever was my GM at the time. Like I would always be like, "Hey, if you show me how to do truck work, I'll do it for you." You know what I mean? And so they would teach me stuff. I remember one time you called me, you go, "Yeah, I saw on your wall down there that you want to be a GM when you're 10, 18. You're like, I think it would be best if you waited till you were 20. That's what you said to me. And I remember you saying that to me. You're like, there's just something about, you're not a teenager anymore. People look at you a little different.
Oh, yeah.
He told me all this. And I remember thinking in my head, yeah, fuck that. That's what I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing 18. So I just kept staying focused on 18.
I think what it is competitive because I wasn't a GM at 18, so I didn't want you to beat me.
Yeah, probably. That's funny, actually. But no, then I was thinking, at the time, I was like a couple months away from turning 18. I was like, how am I going to get a store? That's what I was thinking, because all the stores were taken. No one was about to leave or anything that I thought of. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to work out. And I thought in my head, no one's going to get fired for me. I don't want that to happen.
Right.
That's what my thing was. I was like, I don't want someone to be fired because they want me to take their place ever, And anyways, long story short, someone quit. And it was the store that I wanted to run. The perfect timing for me to...
We lived right there.
Yeah, perfect timing for me to turn 18 and then do it right away.
Right.
I remember when you called me and you were like, hey, you want to run a store? You were like, Pueblo West. That's what me and Kent talked about. So I was like, sweet. I always tell everybody that. I used to tell everybody that, my dad didn't actually promote me because he didn't want me to be until I was 20. It was his boss. That's what I would tell him. So they wouldn't be like, your dad did it.
You've always had this thing about the fact that you thought that working for me or working for Sonic, that people would think that you got given that job.
Right, yeah.
So you worked extra hard.
Everything I could to make sure they didn't.
So you work extra hard to make sure that people understand that you actually could work.
Right, yeah.
And so that always intrigued me. And I will say that I wish we were almost wish we were more talking about our family.
Why?
And just because I don't enjoy a whole lot
talking
talking about Sonic and myself.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I enjoy talking about my family like Dana was on fencing, went to the Junior Olympics and
freaking cool.
fencing.
Yeah.
And I love that whole deal of growing up and going hunting with you guys
Yeah.
and fishing, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of fun stuff that
We've
we
done
did.
a lot of stuff, and like as I met more people in my life and talked to more people, we've done a lot of stuff
We have.
in our life.
We didn't take a lot of big vacations or
No.
anything like that,
Yeah.
but we've done.
I can't really recall any vacations really like vividly.
We did some fly fishing vacations. We all enjoy fly.
Yeah, we
fishing.
never went to like resorts or anything.
No,
you know what I mean?
no, we didn't do that.
We always did something outside or.
Went to water parks. or
Oh,
something.
Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah,
Those
Wisconsin
were sweet,
Dells.
actually.
Yeah.
Those are cool. No, but yeah, Daniel did go to the Junior Olympics. Daniel is like the most. I'm gonna have him on the podcast too. I'm excited for that one actually. For him to just talk about the outdoors or whatever.
I'd love to hear that.
I know. He could ramble forever about that kind of stuff, but looking at it as like the dad of all of us, I always think about this. Not always, but every once in a while, I think about how different all of us are.
Yeah.
We're all so freaking different. You know what I mean? We don't even have the same interests really. Any of us.
Right.
And I find that interesting. You know.
And that's what I was going to say is that with you guys again, I loved tennis. I absolutely love watching you guys play tennis. I miss it. I miss it like the world.
Really? That's funny.
Because I loved watching you guys play. He and Jack both played tennis all through high school.
Yeah.
So what's funny is because you homeschooled, I guess you could explain that because you played for Playboy West High School.
Yeah, so in Colorado you're allowed to, if you homeschool, you have to turn in your grades. You're allowed to play for sports teams there, for whatever area you're in. So it was pretty cool. We got to play for high school there. We were walk-ons. No one knew who we were. And we took everybody's spots, and they were all mad at us at first, but then we ended up getting a lot of friends.
So what it was is you guys started playing tennis when you were
I was 9, and Jack was 7.
7 and 9. Started taking lessons in Louisiana from Tommy.
Yep, Tommy Polyak.
Yeah. And so they started taking lessons, and then...
So our very first coach was the #1 tennis player from Bosnia.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was a great first coach to have.
Right.
He's very old school, but good. It was a very
How
good
old was
foundation.
he at the time? 70?
Probably.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he was great.
He was awesome. Yeah. Cheap. He was very cheap. He's a very cheap coach for how good he was.
I remember to keep you guys healthy, he said you need to drink a lot of Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, that was the thing, yeah. He would give us he'd be like, hey, if you make this shot in, I'll give you a can of Coke.
Yeah.
If you make this shot in, I'll give you a can of Coke. I remember that. Yeah, that's funny.
And then your mother was stressed out because they didn't have water.
Yeah.
And they need to stay healthy.
He's like, no, they're fine.
No, that's healthy. Coke.
Coke is healthy, yeah. He was funny, dude. What did you like about tennis, though? You like watching?
I just love the competitive's. I like
and
watching
we were like a higher level, too. It wasn't like playing around.
Yeah.
It was like we were really serious.
Yeah, because you were doubles, and then were you the number 3 and then number 1?
I was number 3 singles and number 2 singles.
Okay.
Yeah. I lost to a bullshit match in my challenge match.
That's his statement, right?
That's the one thing I'm pissed.
Match.
That's the one thing I'm pissed about. I remember specifically. I wonder if he's listening to this. That'd be hilarious. But I remember specifically the freaking kid that I played against in my challenge match for 1 singles. First off, I was definitely better than him. But tennis is such a mental game.
Yeah.
That off season between those seasons of tennis, that's all I did. I only played tennis, worked out, cross-trained, read books on it. That's all I focused on was tennis because I was like, I'm going to be number 1
Well,
on
you
my
worked
team.
at Sonic, too.
Right, but that's 40 hours a week is really nothing when you're
Right.
homeschooled.
Right.
That's less than kids go to school almost, you know.
Right.
So would work, but that didn't really distract me. It's worked, play tennis, worked out to get ready for it. Because that last year, I didn't really have any schooling left to do.
Okay.
I was pretty much done,
Okay.
so I just work and do that. And I'm gonna beat this kid. All the kids I knew I was gonna beat that I lost to last year, and I beat all of them except for him. But so in the challenge match, the way it works is you play everybody on your school's team, and the best player goes to the top, so on and so forth. Jack and I should have been number 1 and 2, but because of me, we were 2 and 3. Anyways, I lost to him, and I've never been more pissed off in a match because he was calling everything out that was in, and I screamed at him. I was like, what the fuck, you know? And then I remember his dad was a cop, and he was watching me from the sidelines. Watching me from the sidelines and kept telling me to shut up. And then the coach goes, what's going on over here? And I was like, this little pussy's cheating. You know, I was pissed. I was so mad about it.
I remember that.
And then after that, nowadays I would have been like, you want to play that game? I would have just done it back to him probably, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the time I just got pissed, and I just messed up my head.
Still, you said mental game.
Yeah.
And you think about.
He messed with my head by doing that.
You know what's funny about that? Because you think about that with Djokovic, with those guys in the high level. It's a mental game with them too.
Totally.
Because he can be on top, next day it's,
Whoever.
it's
Yeah.
whoever
Yeah.
that's on top.
Tennis is in Rafael Nadal's book. He says tennis is 5% skill. That's all he thinks. He thinks it's 95% mental.
Unless you're Serena Williams. If you can just smoke people
She's
with
the
the
beast.
serve.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Beats people down with that serve.
Yeah, she's an absolute animal. But yeah, no, the tennis is so mental. It's insane. So I lost that match, but then I did really well that year. Number 2, obviously, because I should have been number 1.
Obviously, it still bugs
Yeah,
you.
it doesn't really bother me. I just like looking back and I've learned from that. Like I overreacted mentally and got mad rather than staying calm and playing what I know how to play.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I loved watching tennis. You guys play tennis. Watching Lizzie with dance.
Yep.
And she just absolutely loved that as a kid, and and I miss those times.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
I'd almost rather have an entire podcast about our family.
Yeah.
And the fun times and the things we've done together,
Yeah.
and moving around, the new adventures,
Yeah.
and friends, churches we were
Yeah.
involved with.
Well, this podcast is just getting everybody introduced to you, so
Okay.
we'll do another one later.
Yeah. So anyway, career-wise, we were in Louisiana. Excuse me,
Oh, we were in Colorado.
in Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah. So
You ended up turning those stores around.
we turned those. Yeah. And it took a lot of hard work. And remember, and what I always do, really what I always tell people, which is true, is not me. It's them doing the work.
Yeah.
Even though I'm leading them and leading the charge, a good leader leads the charge.
Right. But without good people, that's
You
useless.
got to have the good people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most important thing in this. And we got rid of 3 managers that were just kind of floating, just kind of going in and doing their thing. And you have to get rid of those people that are not part of the mix and really making things happen.
Totally. Yeah.
It's mental. It's just like tennis.
Yeah, it is.
It's mental. And getting in and doing the work. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It really is.
Sonic can be very, very stressful.
Yeah.
Very.
And if you'll read a lot of the stats on mental stress, and the restaurants are ranked either number 1 or number 2
Yeah.
on mentally stressful jobs. In our concepts, we're now open 6 a.m. to midnight in most of our restaurants. It's a long day.
Yeah, which is really 5 to 1 if you work there.
Yeah, 5 to 1.
Yeah.
And so in Colorado, we opened up our own restaurant, which was called Cultura. It was kind of a health food concept.
Awesome concept. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To open up. And actually, my Sonic partner there owned the building, built the building with us, and we managed and owned the business outright. But I was still itching to do my own thing.
Right.
My own thing with Sonic.
With Sonic, yeah.
Okay. And I worked on doing that in Colorado. I kind of had some financing together. Had some
Investors, didn't you?
some investors that were going to do it with me. I could still get the majority, but had some investors to go do 4 or 5 restaurants.
Yep. I remember that.
And so we were looking around the Colorado area, and by this time Dana was in college. When we were in Colorado, finishing up college at South Dakota
Yeah, he was
State.
like in his last year or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
At South Dakota State, and we had gone to South Dakota a few times. I really liked the hills. Black Hills.
Actually, he'd already graduated, and
Had he?
Yeah, because we went to his wedding before we even talked about the stores here.
Okay.
Because we went to his wedding in Sioux Falls. Remember?
Yeah,
Is that
there's somebody
gunshots?
being shot back here in the middle of
There's
the
the
night.
gunshots going off.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyway.
So we went to the wedding in Sioux Falls before we talked about the stores.
Right.
So that was 2015. Yeah.
Yeah.
The wedding.
Okay.
They get married in 15 or 14, somewhere in there. Right after Dana graduated, they got married. We
Right.
went to Sioux Falls, and then we drove through Rapid City.
Right.
Because we stayed at the
right.
Alex Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I'd always been intrigued with South Dakota. I like
Yeah.
South Dakota. I like the state.
Yep.
First of all, 800,000 people.
Yep.
Spread out.
Yep.
Hunting and fishing.
It's an awesome state. It
It's an
really is.
awesome state.
Yeah.
A lot of deregulation.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of government intervention, things
Yeah.
like that. No state taxes. There's
Yeah.
a lot of good things
There
about
is.
it.
Yeah.
So, we drove through. We saw the store. So that's right. We drove by the Rushmore Road store,
Yep. Yeah, we did.
and then I started inquiring about these restaurants because I had heard through the grapevine that they weren't doing too well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they weren't for sale.
No, they weren't
Yeah,
for sale.
I remember that. Yeah.
They weren't for sale. So I was one of these people that if I knew they weren't doing well,
Yep.
B, if they knew when to sell, I'm just going to call them.
Yeah. Why
I'm
not?
just going to say, hey, what's up? My name's Bryant.
Ever be interested?
I'm in Sonic. If you're interested in selling, here's my number. So I happened to call.
That's what I do in real estate now.
Called somebody here.
Yeah.
Said, hey, are you interested in selling? No, not really. And I said, but I can come in and run them for you, and maybe I can partner up with you and so you don't have to run them anymore. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Hell yes.
come see us.
Yeah.
So we looked at that. We came out here. Ended up getting a banknote and just bought them.
Yep.
Bought the restaurants. There was 3 restaurants, 2 in Rapid City, 1 in Sioux Falls.
And which for people who don't know, they might think, oh, 3 restaurants are doing well. You really don't make that much money off 3 restaurants.
No.
Yeah.
No. The only one that was making money was Sioux Falls
yeah.
at the time. So the other ones were actually losing. I think at the time, the one on Jackson and Rapid City was losing about $45,000 a year.
Yeah.
The one on Rushmore Road was actually gaining about 60. So those are about a wash.
So you made 20 grand there.
60,000 a year. So you could make, these two had just bought a $20,000 a year job, right?
Yeah.
With a banknote, by the
Yeah,
way.
that you had to
So
pay
I
off.
had to buy a banknote every month.
Yeah.
So
you were really negative on that.
really negative on that. So had to depend on.
I think most people can't comprehend buying something that
And
you
losing
own
money.
and losing money every month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what that's like.
It's the fun of just having a business to pay people.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the way.
And everybody that works for you thinks you're,
Filthy
a
rich.
millionaire.
Yeah. But you turn things around and you really make things happen, and it's about having the right people on
Yeah.
board. And I
And
think
it
that's
takes 6 months to a year to really get that.
yeah.
happen.
And they used to say, oh, it takes 6 months, and it really does take a full year.
Yeah,
to
to
get
really
them
get it
turned
around.
right.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to change people out.
Yeah.
And make sure that you got the right people running it, because at first I was in operations every day,
Yeah.
running restaurants here,
Yeah.
and making sure that they were right, because that's what I had to do. That's what I knew to do.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy, but I can get in and work it and,
Yeah.
and make it and turn it around a little bit. So, and then Sioux Falls is when that store was such a high volume, almost a $2 million a year store in sales.
Yeah.
And so that store we had to get in. I think they had half the staff.
Well, when I first went there, they had 16 people.
Yeah.
And we
when I
needed
went there,
about
we had
45.
13. So I called
Way to hire 3
Christian.
people,
I called
didn't you?
Christian, which was living in Colorado, and I said, "Hey, I need your help."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just started trying to get my feet wet in real estate in Colorado.
Yeah.
Basically.
Got your license. You started getting your feet wet and,
Yep.
and things like that. But I needed his expertise. I needed his help.
Yep.
And you stepped up. You and a friend of yours stepped up and came out. Lizzie was already there.
Yep.
Lizzie was already helping. So poor Lizzie and your mother. Poor Lizzie and your mother. I had to get back to Rapid City. I left them in Sioux Falls to help run that location.
To give you guys an example of how much hell this was, is we had 13 people in the store, and you did about 45,
Yeah.
and you're open 6 a.m. to midnight.
Yeah.
And most days we were working 6 a.m. to midnight.
Right.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. So there'd be days maybe you could get out of there. Maybe you could come in a little bit later.
Maybe
like
come in at
9 or 10.
9. Yeah. And then maybe you can leave at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12, 13, 14-hour days every single day.
And I worked probably 14 to 17 hours a day is what I would say for at least the first 6 months.
So your end goal in these
Yeah.
in these restaurants is to hire people so you don't have to do
To replace yourself. Yeah, and that's what we were
Replace
doing.
yourself and
Yeah, we
train.
were hiring like crazy. Yeah.
Right.
But then 3 months into me being there, the general manager quit. Remember?
that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the hardest struggle in these restaurants in particular, and really across the nation back then,
Unemployment was too
was
low.
unemployment started dropping to an astronomically low level. Okay, this was 2015, end of 2015, 2016.
April 2016 is when I got there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so obviously we had been there since
You guys have been there like 3 months before me.
3
I
months
think.
before.
Yeah.
Okay, so beginning of 2016.
Yeah.
So we had Sioux Falls itself has all these. What is it called? The
Oh, the call centers.
call centers for
Credit
bank
card
cards,
companies,
for
yeah.
credit card companies, processing companies, because there's no cap on interest rates here. That at
Right.
the time there wasn't a cap on interest rates, so they could charge anything they wanted.
Yeah.
So all the big premier banks had their call centers
Right.
there. So everybody was taking these unskilled call jobs and so on and so forth, and the meatpacking plant, by the way.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So which was the biggest employer. So the unemployment there was like 1.8%, something really low.
Do you know the stats that if unemployment, to be a healthy unemployment, is 6%, because the average number of people is like 4 to 5% are always transitioning, and they're considered in that unemployment. So
how do you even get that low then?
If you're even, they say if you're below 6%, it's actually negative unemployment.
Okay, because of the transition people.
It's because transition, and the other unemployment is people who aren't working because they have another person in the house that is working, or they don't want to work.
See.
And those are all kind of numbers. I've learned that recently, and I was like, that's why it's such a pain in the ass.
Well, the issue is you get people there.
Yep.
The next day they'll leave.
Yeah.
Because the place next door will offer you 50 cents more.
We had, whenever I was there, 450% turnover.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's right.
Yeah. So it means you get a full new staff 4 times a year, which you're trained. That's the most stressful thing ever.
And it costs a fortune to train somebody to really get them done right. So constant turnover is not good. You want to keep those people happy. So
I'm going to speed this up really quick.
Yep.
So we, so you got the 3 stores, got them all kind of together. That was like, okay, we got these 3 stores. You got your first ones that you owned. Now it's time to hunt for something that can actually basically make you money in the future.
So I built my own restaurant. Built my own Sonic Drive-In.
Yep, here in Rapid.
Here in Rapid City.
Yep.
The one on East North. Built that one.
So I gave
got
it 4.
that. That was kind of my deal. Bought that property was there. And then in the meantime I had been helping out on a border Mexican restaurant.
Yep.
So I've been helping my partners in that. My partners ended up buying them out just recently, all their percentage. So I now have, of the business side, I'm at 100% on that side of that concept.
On the border. Yeah.
Really love that concept. I love working with the people there too. Yeah. So moving forward, I guess it was about 2 years ago, started looking for more stores.
Yeah, searching the whole U.S.
Searching the whole U.S., looking for more stores. Worked with Sonic on this one.
Yep.
Some people I had known for a long time with Sonic. And had a new president, started working with her a little bit, and she really helped me.
She was a big help, wasn't she?
She was a big help.
Yeah.
And got me involved with Catch-All Management in Omaha.
Yep.
That were trying to sell their 13 stores. They had a big cash buyer that they were getting ready to sell to, and I came in.
Not a cash buyer.
Not a cash buyer. Had to have a bank note.
Yep.
Get it all done, and had to really sell myself to them.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I can get these stores and help you.
To where you can
be the
cash
majority.
out a little bit. You
guys you guys cash out.
Yeah, but you can still make money.
That's right.
You
guys cash out. I'm giving you some cash up front. We're giving you X million up front for these 13 restaurants. And by the way, I'm going to leave you on as partners.
Yep. So they're still making cash flow, and they get a little cash.
They don't have to do anything in operations. They don't have to operate them. So they were happy. They're both in their 60s.
Yep.
Yeah, late 60s, and said, okay, that's fine. We'll do that. And that's what I've been doing for the past year now.
Yep.
Really year.
Over a year, right?
Yeah, year and 3 months, year and 4 months, something like that. Been in Omaha, turning those stores around. Got a condo over there.
Yep.
So we kind of go back and forth. Now the goal is to be half there, half here.
Right.
In Rapid. This is my happy place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it out here. And so we're in
My dad is the king of finding deals on stuff. And somehow he found a great deal on this property, which being in real estate here, I'm like, how the hell did you find this? But yeah, you got like the best spot within a 15-mile radius of Rapid City. I honestly think so, especially for the price. You know?
Right. Yeah, and we've done a lot with it.
Right.
So
yeah, you've done a lot
we work our butts off just, fixing it up.
Right.
And things like that. So, so that's really what I've done. I think that, net is it's hard work, but it's rewarding work. I think the fun, to be honest, is getting there.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel like I've arrived.
God, it's weird. Like, I have these things in my head. It's like what you're talking about. Like, you have the idea of like, oh, God, I want to get there, I want to get there, I want to get there.
Yeah.
And then once you hit some kind of goal that you have, it's like, okay, let's do it again.
What's next?
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, I don't get excited about hitting goals.
Your
really.
mother, Amy, is driven much more than I am to do more and more and more.
Yeah,
which
I
has
wouldn't
really
say that.
helped
I
me.
say she's driven differently.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
She's growth. You're like, let's figure out how to actually do this damn thing.
Well, let's
sure.
take care of what we got.
Yeah.
Let's make what we got profitable. Let's
Yeah.
make what we got good. Let's get good people.
No, you have to have a mix of that. Though.
Here's what she's like after we did the 13. Where's the next 13?
Right.
Okay, and I'm like, slow down there, camper. I'm serious. It's like,
Camper.
hang on just
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we got to get 13 under control first.
yeah, let's get the 17 we got, control of those,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before you move forward. So
But I just want to point out the fact that it took you over 20 years.
Yeah.
It took you about 22 years to first off own your own restaurant.
yeah,
Own your own Sonic.
Yeah.
Like you're the majority of it. And then it took you about 24 years. Wait, 24 years, yeah. To where you can actually own enough to make good money off of it.
right.
So really it took you 24 years.
Yeah.
You know?
And along the
to
way,
me, that's cool. I think
and
it's really
along
cool.
the way, yeah, and then some people look at that as kind of, why do you do that?
Yeah.
You know, but along the way, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And I got to say that it has been fun. It has been challenging at
Very
times.
challenging, yeah.
You say the time I took a pay cut,
Yep.
and I did that. You know, the time I had to do the cash calls, I didn't understand at the time, but
Yep.
you know what? I learned from it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's people I would say that I've looked to as leaders, that I've looked to for mentorship. But at the end of the day, it's me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I've got to learn and I've got to be the one to make the decisions. As I get older in life, I can tell you that you have to depend on just your close-knit circle of friends
Yeah.
to help you, because nobody really cares about you but you.
Yeah. It's true.
You know what I'm saying? And they may lead you astray. They may say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
Got a lot of friends and family that said I shouldn't do what I'm doing.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember how many people told you shouldn't do Omaha.
Yeah, that I shouldn't
Yeah.
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Oh, you're gonna get yourself in debt. Oh, you're gonna.
You know
oh,
what's
you're
funny?
Gonna, oh, you should be retiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to retire.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Kind of. I think it goes back to the reason you wanted me to be 20 instead of 18.
Yeah.
People, but for real, people don't want you to be
Well,
further ahead than they
misery
are.
loves company, or whatever
Yeah.
you want to say.
No, people
Yeah.
definitely don't want you to be more ahead than they are. And everybody
Right.
that was saying that to you was people that, what, don't have anything really.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean, or regret.
not
or-
having. Yeah.
Yeah, regret not
more.
doing things, or you know what I mean. They want you to be in the same boat, I think, anyways. So,
Very good.
but so far, that's the story of Bryant Morrison. So far,
To be continued.
yeah, to be continued. All right, we got a minute 16 until this thing shuts off again. So,
Okay.
but thanks for doing this for real.
You're welcome.
We'll post it, and
Appreciate it.
we'll do another one about the family at some point.
I hope I looked right.
You look beautiful, Dad.
Thank you.
Coming from your second daughter over here. All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye bye.
Hour and